there's an actual intersection between people who suffer from possession and some people with mental illness diagnoses such as schizophrenia. There are a lot of commonalities in the symptoms between the two. I used to work in healthcare for a number of years, but not as a doctor. So worked on referral with doctors across Colorado. So the study that I've primarily been focused on for the last few years is the correlation between what might be going on with your spirit and your physical body in terms of how it experiences pain. And that's fascinating work, and I really enjoy it, and I'm so grateful to be a part of it and being able to work hand in hand with the medical community so that they're starting to see value in that. I have always wanted to work on a study where mental illness was concerned, particularly with violent offenders, specifically violent offenders who say that they have heard voices that have told them to commit acts of violence. Are they possessed or are they mentally ill? We have situations documented where the person who has committed the act of violence is then treated for mental illness, and the typical treatments for mental illness don't work. So in that situation, if the person is exhibiting all of the symptoms that correlate between the two, hearing voices, thoughts that aren't their own, I mean, there's so many different overlapping symptoms, if you will, between certain diagnoses of mental illness and possession. How many current patients who have a diagnosis of a mental illness are actually suffering from something else going on in their brain? This is a really fascinating subject, because what if, and this is going to sound probably the craziest thing I've ever said so far, what if we're not treating the actual symptom? So seeing the crossover and the ability for people who have died, who decide for whatever reason that they are not going to be good people, and have the capability or teach themselves how to take over the body of a living person. We know that they can interact in your mind. So is it mind reading? I don't know so much as telepathy is a form of communication. I don't have the answers. I have all the questions, but I don't have all the answers. But in that situation, would the person be better served by someone like me who could do an exorcism, for lack of a better word, that isn't what we actually call them, a removal of that type of an entity from them, and then they can go on and live a productive life, even if they have to pay for the crime that they committed? There is a medical correlation or emotional correlation between someone's capability of being overtaken by something dead or not. I don't know. But if you are a medical professional and you are in the position to be able to do a study like that, I'm your girl.